Welcome to episode 364 of the show. A lot of us who get into business can't wait for the day when we hand over the reins to someone else, because ideally we should be growing something that gets to live beyond us, and so we don't have to be involved 365 days of the year to make sure that the business is a going concern. So that is the ideal thing, and yes, it's a good thing to look forward to that time when, if you're a wedding photographer, you don't have to photograph every single wedding, and the same if you're a wedding planner or architect or whatever business that you are involved in. So yes, that is the dream. However, most people don't realize that sometimes you can step away from the business prematurely, especially from the sales and the marketing functions. So yes, we want to grow big, but we cannot grow beyond what the business actually is. So if you're in the early part of the business and you're still trying to figure out product marketing fit, like our people in the tech industry say, you're still trying to figure out who the customer is, what's the service that you provide, what needs do you meet, who the target customer is. If you're still trying to figure out all those things, for some people that can be the first year or two of the business. For other people it might be the first 3 or 5. If you're still stuck at that stage, then you can't reliably walk away from lots of the functions in the business, especially the sales and the marketing functions. Also, you can't step away from the business if you haven't created standard operating procedures, which is essentially a document that you can hand over to other people, which says these are the stuff we do in the business and this is how we do them, just to make sure that everything is uniform and people are running from the same script, whether it's trying to sort out customer service issues or whether it's trying to fulfill an order, execute on the project, or you're trying to sort out basic sales and marketing stuff, like how and when best to follow up. So if you haven't figured out product market fit, who your customer is, the service that you provide, the use case scenarios, you haven't got a standard operating procedure, then it's not yet time to walk away from the business. The reason why it's important to look at, to examine this is because we have a lot of people that walk away from the business prematurely. Like someone I know who still is a wedding planner, but she made the mistake of letting the shall we say secretary, although they had a very good relationship, so I guess ordinarily wouldn't call her a secretary, but within the first 2 years she let the secretary start running the show when it came to answering sales calls and stuff like that. But then later on she regretted, and she didn't think that it met the brand positioning that she was trying to achieve, and so people end up making those kinds of mistakes. So yes, you may have been working with someone for the first 2 years, but if you really haven't figured out all those issues, who is the ideal client, what is the kind of experience that we're trying to tailor for them, and what's the best way to go about that, and then you put it down in a standard operating procedure. It doesn't have to be an official document, but you just have to be able to tell people who work with you or who work for you that this is where we're going and this is how we're going to execute things from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 until you have achieved that level of creating business processes and frameworks. Then it's too early to walk away from the minutiae and the day-to-day of running the business. So in summary, yes, ultimately we should be looking forward to that day when we don't have to be involved 24/7, 365 to keep the business going. But the time when we leave or when we take a step back is not going to be determined by the number of years. So don't say by 2 years, by 3 years, by 6 years, or by 10 years, but rather just think about the level of sophistication that you have achieved in the business. If you figured out product market fit and you have all these standard operating procedures, then the next step is to make sure that everybody is trained up and is capable in these processes. And then that is what will determine when it is that you can step back from the business. So thank you very much for listening to today's recording. I am Abuja-based sales consultant Tavishima Ayede, your host, and I'll catch you guys at the next recording.